Have you ever felt completely stuck? Trapped in one of those situations where every option just feels wrong, like you're choosing between a bad outcome and a worse one. Well, today we are diving into a scientifically backed technique to build a kind of protective shield for your mind, a way to handle life's toughest moments with, believe it or not, calm and wisdom. All right, let's make this real. Picture this. A colleague, someone you see every single day, not only steals your idea, your hard work, but then has the nerve to blame you when something goes wrong with it. Your heart is pounding, your face gets hot. What is your next move? What do you do in that exact moment? For most of us, there are pretty much two roads, and they're both dead ends. Option one, you fight back. You get furious, you lash out, maybe you start plotting your revenge. And what happens? You've just created a long-term enemy at work, and your stress levels go through the roof. Option two, you just crumble. All that anger turns inward. You start blaming yourself, feeling totally worthless. The result? Your energy, your confidence, it's all just gone. Neither one feels like a win, right? But this is where things get really interesting. What if there was a third option? Not some halfway compromise, but a totally different play. A way to activate a protective shield for your mind right when you need it the most.
It's a practice called Metta. And look, this isn't about being some kind of saint or pretending to feel something you don't. A better way to think about it is like this. You're activating a wireless charging mode for your own mind. You're just sending out a simple, positive intention, a wish for well-being, without expecting or needing anything back. It's an internal move designed to protect your own peace.
So, how do we actually build this shield? Well, you treat it just like a workout for your brain. We're going to walk through how you can scientifically retrain those automatic gut punch emotional responses. And the workout itself is so simple. It's just 4 steps. First, you direct that positive intention toward yourself. Then you extend it out to someone you love. After that, to someone neutral, like a stranger you passed on the street. And finally, here's the master level. You direct it toward a difficult person. And here is the really incredible part. Science has actually mapped what is happening inside your brain when you do this. Wishing yourself well, that lowers your stress hormones. Focusing on a loved one, it literally boosts the happiness circuits in your brain. For a stranger, it fires up the part of your brain used for reason and cuts down on bias. And here's the game changer. Focusing on that difficult person actually calms down your amygdala. That's your brain's little red alarm for fear and anger.
And you want to know the best part? The time commitment for this really powerful brain training is just 10 minutes a day. That's it.
And the return on that tiny investment? In just 2 weeks, neuroscientists can actually measure the changes. The parts of your brain responsible for empathy and emotional self-control literally get stronger. You are giving your mind a physical upgrade.
Okay, I can hear some of you right now. Be nice to the person who just backstabbed me? No way. And you're right, let's be crystal clear. This is not about being a doormat. It's a strategy, not a surrender, and it has 3 ironclad rules. Rule number 1, you do not have to condone what they did. This is not about letting people get away with bad behavior. You can, and you absolutely should, take action, report them, set a boundary. The difference is, you do it without that corrosive internal hatred that, in the end, only poisons you. Rule number 2, you do not have to like the person. Not at all. This is not about becoming best friends. Wishing them well is an internal act you do to free yourself from their toxic grip on your mind. You can do it from a very, very safe distance.
And rule number 3, this is not about suppressing your anger. Anger is a totally normal signal. The key is to see it, to acknowledge it. Wow, okay, I am furious right now. And then, instead of letting that anger pull your strings, you take a breath and consciously choose a smarter, more strategic response. So let's put this all together. How does this protective shield actually help you win by essentially refusing to fight on their terms? Let's go back to that backstabbing colleague.
The second it happens, before a single word leaves your mouth, the very first move is internal. You turn inward and you say to yourself, may I be calm. May I act with wisdom. You're hitting the brakes on that knee-jerk rage reaction. You stabilize yourself first. Then, you make this really radical move. You send an intention toward them. May you be free from the suffering that makes you act this way.
Now, this isn't about forgiveness. It's a strategic reframe. It's recognizing that honestly, people who do things like this are often driven by deep insecurity and misery. You're not their therapist. You're just cutting the cord of hate that's tying you to them.
And just look at the difference in the outcome. The old way? It starts with revenge, leads to an emotional mess, and lands you with a permanent enemy. The Metta way? It starts with a calm mindset. Your action isn't a sloppy attack. It's a clear-headed decision to collect evidence and report the facts. The result is de-escalation, actual resolution, and, maybe most importantly, you walk away with your self-respect intact. And this brings us to the biggest question of all. The one that reveals the ultimate strategic advantage of this whole practice. Who were you really setting free here?
Because here's the bottom line. When you're holding on to all that anger and resentment, you are literally letting someone else's negativity live inside your head, completely rent-free. They hurt you once with what they did, and then you let them hurt you 1,000 more times as you replay it over and over. This practice? It's their eviction notice.
And you can try this right now. If you ever need some instant mental first aid, just try this. Place a hand over your heart. Take 3 slow, deep breaths, and just say silently to yourself, "May I be peaceful." As you do it, imagine a warm white light just washing through your mind. It's a way to flip the switch on that protective shield in seconds. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. This whole practice, it was never really about them. It's about you taking back your own mental energy, your own emotional freedom. So if you stop pouring all that energy into fighting them in your head, who then are you truly setting free?